Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome to episode 2 of the Culture and Cannabis podcast. I am Anthony Lee, aka Full-Time Tony, here with my big homie, JC Coates.
What up?
Today, we have a super dope guest.
Super dope.
This guy is an all-around entrepreneur, from restaurants to events to nightclubs to building one of the biggest, if not the biggest, cannabis brand in the world, David Tran. What's up, my man? How we doing?
That was definitely over dramatized, but
we just got it from your LinkedIn profile.
LinkedIn profile.
yes, that one. Not to be self-serving, but no, it's been a blessing to be a part of this for so long, and it's amazing to be able to see all the people that have led this journey that was just happened longer than before we've been around. So just being thankful for that. Opportunity now to be able to do what we're doing right now and sitting with you guys, and
nice.
It's dope.
It is dope.
Yeah.
It is dope.
Yes.
And I mean, so this is episode 2, right, of the Culture and Cannabis podcast, right? And just to frame that up, right? I mean, we've been working, tirelessly every month through the event process here in Las Vegas, kind of, wanting to create the responsible event process that highlights some of the amazing things that are happening in this community, and just here recently we've decided to launch a podcast, right, to kind of layer that and create more value for the event and the whole movement. And dude, we are so grateful that you're here.
Thank you so much.
But what it is, right? So just so you know what we're going to get into, right? So we're going to dive into kind of like your origin story, if it's okay, right? Sure. We're gonna dive into some of your accomplishments, why cannabis, what you've been doing, some of your family life balance, what characteristics, right, that you've seemed to, kind of unlock or like hone to where you could win in this space of events, cannabis, magazine, media, all that stuff. So you guys down to get into that or
yeah.
what?
No, it's awesome. Yeah. I just like hanging out with you guys. It's just fun.
It is fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we were talking about this in the car over here, and we Tony, we're just like, I don't know, what was it, like a month ago? We're like, let's start a podcast.
Yeah,
right?
No, definitely. It was literally a month ago. I texted you about it. I was like, hey man, we gotta just keep rolling on content. Like, what's the next thing we can do? And the podcast was just made the most sense. Man. And so it's just a blessing to have you here for the second episode.
Oh, I'm telling you, that's a seed that all of us get to. We don't know, and we throw it out there, and you guys have made a commitment to get this far, and I think that's what's beautiful, is that everyone is at a different stage in the industry, and that's great, as long as you love what you're doing and that you have a passion for that niche of your business, then that's you're going to go down that road.
Yeah, no, definitely. And so for guys like me that are younger in the industry, looking up to someone like you who's done it, who's done, the big moves, started off, small and, made something huge, right? And so it's a huge inspiration to me, and I know it's a huge inspiration to JC. So yeah, man, we're just really excited to have you here.
So let's dive into that, right? So you talked about like the, going down the road, right? The stage of your business, right? And so, I mean, just for you kind of hitting on that point, kind of like, leads me to believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, right, that you're kind of familiar with your process, right? And the different stages of a business, and how, and of course that you would, right, because you deal with a lot of small businesses. Do you want to talk about like your process a little bit? You want to dive into that?
Sure. I mean, a lot of the times we're learning this for the first time.
Yeah.
To build a company like this is different, because I was in the bar industry. That's a different industry. And you've been in the bar industry before. There's a different process. And when you're building a company that, again, is just such a nascent industry, and we're trying to figure it out ourselves, we are just building it. You know what I mean? Building the ship as it goes. Like, we're building it, we're getting beat up, and, that's a process. Right. And you just have to be ready to go through that. And if you're lucky enough to get through the whole process, it's a learning process that, it's something that you can never emulate. And it helps you going forward with different things, because, bet you that, people are not going to succeed all the time. Right. I mean,
Most people don't, right?
No, statistics show that it doesn't, but it's just like, to me, there's a boldness to it, and I think there's a respect, and I think everyone's willing to, bond together and do some things.
Yeah, yeah.
No, and that that's huge, right? Like from a guy like me, seeing that is impactful, and so
It's all about the process, man. I'm a big process guy, and I love it. And I love to really dive into my own process, because I think everybody kind of has their own and how they feel comfortable with it. And the cannabis industry for me, right, has been, I've kind of went through this, talk about stage of business, right, in Nevada, right, as it was, medical, and then it goes into, the recreational, and it's a process, right? It's the same process, and it's interesting to see, because we live in Vegas, right? We have like the MJ BizCon, and we'll see other people from other states, right? And it's almost like a time capsule, right? They'll be like, "Oh, we're from Arkansas, right? So we're just going through medicinal," and it's amazing to see them. They're like right in that same space that we went through,
I was here like 5 years ago when I went to a pool and I owned a cannabis store. So this is the first time vapes were coming out, and O-Pen made a pen, and I took it down to Vegas, and we were out in the pool, and dude, guy in a wheelchair walks up. We're just smoking this thing, and they just grabbed me. They grabbed me. They grabbed me in the most dramatic fashion that you could get grabbed. Get pulled to the back, and then I was down in the clink.
That's
down
the,
in the dungeon.
yes, at the hotel.
Yes, the bottom of the chamber for like 3 hours.
Was that at the, what pool was that?
I probably shouldn't say anything about that right now, sir. I mean,
it's almost like jail, right? Did they handcuff you?
They did, man. I was in my shorts. I had no shirt on. They took I didn't have anything.
Right.
So amazingly, I got out there, got in a cab, and then when I got out, my friends were there and they paid for it. It was just happened like that.
That's crazy.
But anyways, it felt right at the time, but it was not the right time. And soon we're gonna see some changes around here, and it's cool to be right here, right now, watching it. I don't need it to happen right away. There's a process, like you said, that happens, and timing in life and in business is everything. Just got to keep on getting out there.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned that you went from the bar scene to the dispensary scene. How did you make that jump? What propelled you to get into cannabis?
Well, I started behind a 7-Eleven with a can 25 years ago. That was the first time I smoked it, and then I went into college, and I really just interesting enough, High Times was one of those places that I learned about cannabis and fell in love with it and fell in love with the community. And that was like a big pivotal moment for me. And then Hempfest, the big Seattle convention, he was there with one plant at Gasworks Park on the first day with like 5 people. Then the next year was bigger. And then by the time I got there and went like in 94, see, imagine this, 94, this convention, it started growing in this park, and just amazing what, Hempfest is built, for the Washington market, but also all these other entrepreneurs like Champs. What they're doing right now is just so legendary, and I'm just thankful that people take this risk. Everyone takes this risk, and comes in and goes, you know what I mean? And not only like you put out there, you promote. It's pretty cool to see it. So I love that dedication part about this industry. It just never surprises me.
So let's jump into it, right? So how old are you?
I'm turning 44 this year.
44? I'm 43. So
I'm
you're the oldest guy in the room.
I am the, they call me Father Tran.
Father Tran.
But then after dark, they call me the Tranimal.
I've seen both, and I genuinely love, both of,
Just got to be yourself all the time.
So did you go to college?
I went to the UW for a few years.
Yeah.
Found it useful for all the parties we were throwing, and
Huskies.
Huskies, yes.
Was that something like from your parents made you feel like you had to go to college?
She did, but I was probably the first person that just like right after high school just said, I'm gonna go get an apartment.
Yeah.
Got into this apartment with like 2 rooms, and it's $550, and you're trying to figure out how to pay for it, and there's 2 roommates over here and 2 in this room, and it's just like we're chopping it down. I was like, oh dang.
Yeah.
But that's where cannabis came, and it was just like I started surrounding myself with people from all over, and that's when I knew there was a very powerful plant there, and a very powerful tool to get people to connect with each other.
So
and
was that what it was? The connection of
it
all
always
types of people,
always
right?
is. It didn't matter. When I sat down, you could be any race, any person, and I could relate to you by one union. We have this union with the plant, right? And everything, right? And then there's...
It is incredible. I mean, yeah, that's my favorite part about cannabis.
Yeah.
I mean, that it really just transcends everything.
Well, that's what it's doing right now. That's why we're sitting here. That's why I've got to know. I've come in. I built a relationship with JC. I've talked to him. He knows, you know what I mean? I'm goofy, and and the good part is that we built that friendship, and that's why now we can have this conversation, because it's amazing what you guys are doing. I'm really excited to be a part of this because, again, you guys tell the message the right way. That's the important part, right? It's just that stewardship of being able to just send it out the right way and do your part.
Yeah, stewardship. It's a great word.
That is a good word. I gotta start using that word more.
Yeah,
that's stewardship word.
I mean, if you are one, then you are one.
Yeah. No, definitely.
I mean, we all have to be stewards, right? That's
for sure.
That's what we're supposed to be, right? That's what we're made to be, right? I mean, some have that belief, but we definitely do. But so when you were in college, right? I mean, so what were you interested in? What were you trying to?
So I had
get a degree in?
dreadlocks.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. I ate acid. I ate mushrooms.
But you were still good at school?
I sold weed. No, I wasn't. It was the worst. I mean, I was just sleeping during this. But I did get into psychology, and I believe business is very much a lot about psychology. I don't know if to me, it was about the people, meeting the people there, gathering, doing parties, and understanding that when you did that for people, then there are meaningful relationships that could be built on that, which rely on the connector to make that happen. And so that's all we did. And we did it with music. We did it with cannabis. We did it with, maybe some kegs. Yeah. And maybe some acid and some mushrooms. You know what I mean? Maybe a little bit of that.
Maybe a little bit of everything.
Maybe, well, everyone's living, you know what I mean? Everyone gets to experiment with life. That's a great part about it, is that everyone gets to experiment with life. Everyone has the right to do that, no matter what, or they should.
Yeah.
Did throwing those parties in college, translate into, you becoming a bar owner and doing the big events? I know you started Old Skool Media. What was that, 1993, 1994?
Wow, that was young, yeah.
And so, you started that. What was the first big event that you did with that group?
Well, the cool part is that, I started out as a bar back, right? Learning this was the second job. It's bar back, then let's get into the bartending, and then let's be the guy that's dancing on the bar, and then let's be the guy who's like, you know what, man, people want to freaking party. And then we started saying, you know what, let's go ahead and throw our own event, and we did a Sunday night event for 18 and over, which hasn't been done. And so we brought in the radio station, and it was a party for like 3-4 years. And it was like great because all of the people that we know in the industry in Washington, these young folks are now people of age. And so it just feels very much cool because there's that connection throughout there. But that started everything. And the partners were just like, hey, Dave, we have an idea. Let's open Coyote Ugly. You know what I mean? Me, like, when I saw the movie, I was like, hell yeah. I'm going to say that I own Coyote Ugly. Sweet.
Was that your first bar?
And then it didn't happen. And long story short, we ended up calling it Cowgirls Inc. And it's now been around for 15 years. And it's right there in Pioneer Square. If you're there, amazing place, all the games. And then plus on top of that, there's just a dope staff over there, and shout out to my partner Wade over there who's been holding down. 15 years. It's nice. To me, I love the idea of some long-term relationships and such. So
nice.
Yeah.
So you from the outside looking in, right? For people might be listening or whatever, it's like, David Tran, right? Owner of Dope Magazine, did the big merger with High Times, business guy, media guy, right? But when you get to know you on like a personal level, right? There's kind of like a couple sides to you, right? You got you can almost turn it off and on, right? You got the Tranimal working, right? Where you're just kind of like, funny, happy-go-lucky, having a good time, party animal, right? But you can also turn it off and right and be really intelligent and intentful about your speaking. And so let's talk about that, right? So do you think that, like, where did you see like the business move? Because it sounds like you're partying in college, right? I'm trying to get to the origin here, right? So you're partying in college, you're bartending, you're bar backing, right? And you're having a great time in your comfort zone where you're having, happy-go-lucky guy party, the Tranimal, if we should say, right? But then it quickly turns into like a business opportunity, right?
Yep.
And so, let's talk about that. How does that kind of happen in your mind, and how, because it looks like that's kind of been your trajectory, right? You love to kind of like live in these playful areas, right? But you find a way to capture the value and turn it into a business.
Well, a lot of times you just got to be in the right place at the right time. Like if you push your intention to do certain things, then you'll find yourself there and you'll meet the right people. And that's how a lot of things happen. And, I owned 4 bars and, I thought it was my passion, but then, cannabis came back, from, people that I knew. Would you like to open a small, medical store? And I was just immediately, and there was nothing I wasn't excited to do immediately. And, I'm old school, I'm a range. I don't, it could be not set up, but, I was very intrigued by it. And we did that together. And that we actually ended up starting Dope Magazine as that crew. And I learned a lot about it. And it was just really interesting because I just looked on the coffee table and realized that there's not a lot of information. There's not a lot of places, me as a marketer to put my brand out there. And so it was just amazing how everything worked out. And, it just always started with connections. And, as we build dope, it was always about events. It was always about looking people. It's always about our words, just so that we can recognize the people that have been in there working and doing it themselves. Let's give them an opportunity to utilize that as to me, a nod to the hard work that you've done.
I love that.
And so, like looking, that deal with High Times, how did that come to fruition? I mean, we don't have to get into the nitty gritty, but, were they looking at you? Did you contact them? How'd that all go down?
Well, it's really wild, like a lot, but, we were looking into different opportunities and, there was another company that was looking at us and, last minute, I just felt like there was a conversation I needed to have with a friend of mine Matt Stang, who I've known about, but just one of those moments where you just picked up the phone, called him because there was, there, and it just turned out to be this thing that happened right away. And it's just, again, a flashback of just being able to start out with High Times and then being able to see what they're doing right now and being a part of it is just amazing. So it was really no brainer. I mean, this is the most quintessential brand in the world. 45. When you said me, there's nothing closer to High Times as a brand, and I'm just amazed to be a part of it. And I love the people that are around us, and like the real trajectory of what's gonna happen with events, different content, and things that just will continue to really, again, beacon, all the work that we've all done, together.
Yep. Oh, definitely. And, you talked about events. I know you have an event coming up.
Yep.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. We are doing our first Dope Cup here in California.
Very
Well,
nice.
not here in California, but in California. And it's March and 23rd to 24th, and it's Andelanto California. We got amazing lineup, and it's the cool part about it is High Times has been doing it for so long. I can't question the idea that this is the most quintessential brand, and then Dope brings some cool flair that we can put together. And I think the idea of having a free RSVP concert with Waka Flocka, Soulja Boy, Peel, Trill Sammy, Mike G, give them all love. Brandon Gomes, Outlaw the Artist, Most High, Little Twin, and Ms. Coke, and 1K Watt.
That's a stacked lineup.
I'm 44, so I know Waka Flocka because he played at a Dope Cup, and Soulja Boy because of the dance. And like, if I did it, it'd probably hurt my back.
Right.
So like, I'm not gonna even try to. Damn you, coming after you. But that's on, you know what I mean, March the 23rd, 24th. Brands, I mean, get down there. There's a lot of going to be hungry people looking for education. They're going to be looking to learn something, and they're going to be looking to make connections with brands. So it's just amazing. That's the cool part about Dope and High Times getting together, is that we have a bigger platform. We have a bigger platform to do bigger things and send out the bigger message. And that's what's really cool. And I'm excited to be a part of it. And you could tell.
Yeah. No, it looks amazing. I've been hearing it on the radio.
Yeah.
Have you heard it on the
Oh,
radio?
I know. I've been seeing all over social media. It's been crazy.
Yep, and I think right now the Reg A raise is coming to an end, but I think there's still an opportunity to get in there right now and own a part of history. Yeah. I think it's going to be very exciting for one of the biggest brands, and just purchase Spanibus. Yeah. I mean, and the other businesses that, you know what I mean, they'll probably get me if I say anything else. You know what I'm saying? I don't want someone to run it. Actually, you know what I mean? I better be careful.
And this is the first ever for this cup.
Yep, the first one that we're joining together, and there's going to be many more, and it's cool. I mean, I can't wait. I'm going out there, so if you guys come down and visit me. It's a free show. And if you want to join in with like the big production and stuff, the lineup is dope. And you know, the truth is right now, let's get the audience in, and then let's show them. Let's keep them here. Yeah. You know, to me, it's like, let's keep them here. If we do the right thing and send out the right message, we're going to keep them here. Then we're going to continue to do more things, and that's going to be fun.
Nice. So I'm going. I think we're going.
Yeah, I think
right?
we're definitely have
we're
to be
gonna
there.
find you.
You guys are hanging out with me. Yeah. You guys are hanging out with me. So
let's check it out, right? So all right, I just want to keep it moving on who David Tran is really. You know, so like you did the college thing, you had the dreads, right, and then you had the bars, right, and now the cannabis is coming over to you, and you know you had a lot of success, and you know, probably fast forward through 1,000 problems, right? And then you had the merger, right? So what does it really look like for Dope and High Times? You know, how does that coexist, right? Is it just two separate things doing their thing? Obviously not, right? You're doing the events collaboration. Is that what we're going to see a lot more of, is just mainly more event collabs?
Well, I think, you know, everyone has their voice, right? If we can humanize everyone's brand the same way you humanize your brand, everyone has a look, they have a face, they have a look and a sound. And I think the important part is to maintain that, but be able to now collaborate with each other to do more, to do fun collaborations, to do other type of things. So I see plenty of opportunities out there. If we can continue to get really creative and continue to be able to figure out like the needs of the industry, then I really feel that we're going to start to really, again, people will fill those needs. And then now there are professionals, because that's what we need. Professionals to come in here, take it seriously, and be able to take it. Again, it's a responsibility right now.
Absolutely.
Right? The message has to be strong.
What do you think the top traits of a true cannabis professional is?
You know, for us, it was always about the dope life. You know what I mean? Dope life to me is dedication, optimism, professionalism, energy, you know, building your thing. I mean, leadership, integrity, focus, and energy. And it's just like, to me, it's just like education, you know, and just to me, set your own, boundaries on how you want to determine your brand.
Did you have a cannabis influence, like someone that you looked up to in the cannabis industry, or is it someone outside the cannabis industry that built you into who you are today?
Well, I really think that Vivian McPeak, he started Hempfest, and I went there when I was young, and he was up there on stage with huge dreadlocks, like playing grunge, and he was so freaking good at it, and he was cuss on stage, and you just felt like you know what I mean? You were just engulfed in that, that feeling. And funny story is just like, it's at a gasworks park, and I climbed up on this big structure, and pretty sure, gotta tell you, Ma, we took mushrooms, went up there and sat up there, and we were like watching him play, and he just looked down, and he was just like, to you guys up there, and we're fully just tripping out and like hanging out up on this big platform, and he's just like, to you guys up there, get the hell down. You guys are gonna lose us our license. And on mushrooms, we're just like, holy shit. And now we gotta climb down this monstrosity. Anyways, that was and I told him, he doesn't remember, of course. But Vivian to me is like the most inspirational guy. He did it when no one should have done it, and I just think that he has been such a leader. And I think going in the future, when we're right now documenting history, he'll go down as someone that really paved the way for me and for a lot of different brands that are just thriving right now. And again, we want to support that, and I think even Vivian is pretty excited about that.
That is, that's nice. That's a nice sentiment to him.
I think I've always been obsessed with experiences that humans have, people have in their early life, like you just kind of explained, right? That really have an impact, right? And it's always like when I've talked to interview, we did a podcast like all year last year, interviewed a lot of people, but I would always notice, right? And guys, kind of like you, or guys that could really kind of create on a higher level. They all had this kind of like experience in their younger youth, right? And maybe that was you with the Hempfest, right? And it really touched you at that time, right? And it was kind of like outside of your family, it was more kind of like it usually always kind of what I've noticed is happens in a person's life when they're they've maybe like in their 20s, early 20s, they moved away, they're trying to figure out stuff, right? And they have this amazing kind of like experience. Sometimes it's at a rave, sometimes at Hempfest or whatever, and it really influences the trajectory of the rest of their life. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it did, right? It's amazing.
They called the Deuce. It was just an apartment down on 22nd.
That shit created you, bro.
We hung out there. We actually like smoked weed with like 311, like with what's it? The blonde guys, Roach or
Papa Roach.
Yeah. But yeah, the girls upstairs are that, and dude, it was amazing. All those people. It's cool that even after some of these years, that's where I met them, and it was amazing. Yeah. I mean, nothing like it. Yeah. I mean, if you really think about it, nothing like it brings people together like it. Nothing.
I had a experience, I think it was like 96.
96,
96, bro.
Oh, shit.
What you know about 96?
Oh, 96?
I don't know anything about 96.
I'm not talking about 97.
You weren't even born yet, man.
I was born in 95, but
96 was an amazing year because it had
Yo, mama was 10.
There was, talking about house music, right? And talking about like cultural movements, yep. And, house music is rooted in like spiritualism, and, it was more than just eating drugs or whatever. But like I had a similar experience, because I remember when there wasn't like EDM or house music or raves, they didn't exist, right? And then I saw them come, right? And then I experienced them at a young age. And then it is what it is today. But I had some of those type of experiences. I would go to those raves and I'd be like,
I ate acid for 30 days straight.
How old were you?
In college.
Yeah.
How was that? Like, what did you do for those 30
Blotter?
days?
What's a blotter?
I kicked it. I went to Gasworks. I had a really just amazing experience.
What month was that? Do you remember?
It was in July.
Oh,
nice. It was in the summer. So like all at night gorgeous. We just hung out But we hung out all night, traveled through like the school, the universe, like, fell into a big pond, you know what I mean? Trying to run around like a freaking gazelle, like around like a fountain pool with like a small little opening this big, just like smart.
Right. Which didn't ever exist, really.
I wish we had video, because if it did, it would be amazing. But it wasn't me, dude. I can't run like that.
No, wasn't you?
No, it was a friend.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyways, that was.
Don't eat.
It would have been better.
Don't eat acid for 30 days anymore.
Well, it was a good experience, It was just a good experience because I survived, and that was probably the best part of it.
Made it at the end, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's interesting, when you're young, you want to, no matter what, you're trying to get to know each other, and just understand yourself a little bit, and it's not different than anybody else. So now that I have children, which I have 3 daughters, it's just like I just want them to just experience their life. And
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I was just about to dive into that, right? So we're talking about all these these fun times and all this crazy times, right? But like probably like a trending type of question for guys like you and I that are in our age, that are succeeding and creating on a high level. It's the balance, right? The life balance, right? You seem to really participate actively and intentionally with your family work-life balance, right? And I'm getting that right just from your Facebook, right? We're Facebook friends, right? But you'll do, you post about work, you post about your events and all that stuff, but then you're very intentional about what it seems like is to have a family life balance. What does that mean for you?
Well, it's important to me. I met my father once at a Chinese restaurant. He left my mom over in Vietnam to come over here, and my mom has taken care of me and my 4 sisters for a long time. So it's just like I understand how important it is to have a father figure, and someone that continues to show love, because I used to work at Child Haven too, like a nonprofit, and it was all about that age, from 1 year old to 5 years, that you learn everything about love, about hate, about all those type of things. And right now we have to start early in the process to make a difference. But, again, we're all doing our part, too.
So how does it work for you? Like, do you have to schedule it, or does it come natural for you? I'm talking about family work-life balance, right? Like, is it does your wife keep you on a schedule?
It's about communication, and for me, it's just like you sacrifice everything else, because when I'm not here spreading the dope life and spreading what we're doing right now, because to me it's an important responsibility what we're doing right now with the High Times, with Dope Magazine, with Culture, and with all these brands that we have in here. It's just like we're trying to get the message out, so I feel like that responsibility. And then of the other time, it's like this, I want to be at home. I want to see my kids. I want to see my wonderful wife, you know what I mean, who's amazing. We're actually celebrating our 8-year anniversary right now.
Congratulations.
So we're going to celebrate together like we do every year. And now we have a couple really just beautiful, girls that, to me, I just crave to get back to them. So, when I go out there, it's just like I want every minute to be worth something. I want to do what I'm passionate about. If I'm not doing that, then I'm not, I'm leaving knowing that, it's not, there's might be some wasted time.
Definitely. How do you, I meet a lot of people in the industry who are parents, and they have this idea that sometimes there's a stigma around being in the cannabis industry and having children. Do you ever face anything like that? When you go to your kid's school, or when you're talking with anybody that family, friends?
No, I love it. I mean, I love it. The people that know me are starting. We're weaning into that different age now. We're so lucky that our kids aren't going to know what the prohibition of cannabis is. The same persecution we went through, the fear, the bad messaging. And now it's cool because my daughters are in a few years are going to have this message that cannabis is all right. And it is all right. And it's about freedom of choice, and it's about doing what you want to do. And it's about responsible, extravagance, and, just making sure that you're being a good person out there.
Definitely. Do you think that I'm gonna switch gears here, just because I definitely want to ask you this question. Do you think there was something that was super instrumental for you and for dope that brought you to what's today? Like this one event that you're like, this really changed the trajectory of dope. Not being even the High Times, merger deal, but something before that even led to that.
I mean, there's just so many moments, there's so many moves and so many things. And, I talk about timings, like what happens at every turn. If you haven't lost it many times, you're not running fast enough. And for us, it was just always a scary moment. So I think there's a lot of moments of realization. And to me, when we decided, how do we get this to the masses, right? How do we get this message that, again, I had incredible teams growing Dope Magazine, some very intelligent people that have taken us. And, I want to give them all a kudos. They've led that through. I mean, there's a lot of OGs that were there a long time ago. And, we continued. Well, right. I just forgot about what I was talking about. I was just like freaking going on. Like, I was just like, yeah, sorry. What were we talking about, bro?
we were
JC, what were we talking about, man? I mean,
I think we're talking about like special moments that happen, right?
yeah.
Okay. Got you. But,
Okay.
But and I think you answered it, right?
Yeah.
And,
did I?
Yeah, you did. You said it was nothing that was just one.
Darn you! Fuck that.
But let's double up on
90%. What the hell?
It was good. It was good.
Okay.
I just remembered. I forgot. Now I remembered. All right. But yeah, let's double up on that, right? So like, I mean, I'm sure there's a 1,000 moments, right? And 1,000 people that you've dealt with that have created little pivots for you, and memories, and have kind of shaped your where you're going and all that stuff. But let's talk about, like, I mean, let me frame up this question, right? And I know that I think I'm the king of the asking the longest questions ever, right?
Yeah,
but,
this is a long one.
Yeah. But what I want to do here, and it's important, right? This is important, right? So like, walking the Champs floor today, right? We're at the Champs convention, or if you're going to Glass Vegas, shout out to Teddy and Dustin, or going to the Age show, and you're seeing really big brands, right? That are really doing it, right? And it seems to be just a few of them, right? But then there's a bunch of other brands, right? That you walk by, and it's like, for me, right? It's like, I don't know their story, right? And it's like, sometimes it's like, oh, my heart goes out to them, or like, I can see they're struggling, right? They're trying or whatever, but they're not like, on the level. Maybe it's just a different, time in their thing, right? But what would you say to some of these, because for me, the startups in cannabis is just so inspiring, right? Everybody's got the stories, right, about the cannabis and what they're doing, but it's just a world of startups. What would you say to these people?
I just
getting
love
started,
watching those
too, right?
guys jump in, and I love the idea that you get out there and you reach out to people. And there's so many people that I talk to on a weekly basis that I've met through LinkedIn or Instagram, and they just want to talk. And sometimes it's great for me to talk to. I'm learning something all the time. And so I love people that go out there and continue to open up their network.
Yes.
It's active. You have to be active in that. That is a process. That is something that you must be really great at. And if you are, then you can. I don't know a lot. I just know how to hang out with people and like meet good people and learn about.
Network, connect with people, get out there, just keep after it, right?
Absolutely.
And it definitely shows too. When we're at Champs, right? You can just feel the energy come off you when you say hi to people. People are really excited to see you,
and
right?
it's because you kept showing up, right? You kept after
for years.
Right? Yeah.
For 8 years we did that. For 8 years, not just overnight. For 8 years we went out there, watched them go through their progression of their life and business and all those things, and we were there every single moment, and we looked each other in the eye.
Right.
And there's a really great moment when you can do that, and then you follow it up with the emails and like really connect and try to find ways to work with each other, because that's really ultimately how we all continue to get better and, bigger so that we can, you know what I mean? Again, fulfill whatever you want to fulfill.
Yeah. Make sure everyone's eating too.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean? It is. If you are, then it is.
So earlier, last year, I'm searching for like some examples, right, where we really fucked up with culture and cannabis, right? We really failed, right? There were several experiences, right? You want to talk about some failed experiences, kind of mold your path?
Do that all the time. I mean,
Right.
In the nightclub industry, you know what I mean. You've had some bombs too.
Yes.
It's very humbling. It's a very bottom, list feeling, but it's just, it seems like people are able to learn from those experiences, and for us, like dope, so many. I mean, we said it's the craziest ride ever. This is something that, it's hard to teach, and sometimes like you're out there in the sea, it's just like it's crashing, it's going, you don't have a direction, and you just can't, so it's a blessing. It's a blessing. Everyone on the way, the team, and we had a great group of investors that came in there and really were just awesome. And sometimes it's about timing. Sometimes you have to rely on that.
What keeps you motivated? Like, what keeps you that energy?
My family, always. That's everything. My wife, who, again, we've been married for 8 years, and then I have 3 daughters, Marley, Presley, and Dylan. So those are my girls, and like everything is about them, and it's about, I love what I do too.
Do you think I'm going to double down on that, right? So what is it like when you say it's your family, right? And your beautiful daughters and your wife. So what is that like for you inside your head, right? Is that like, I have to create something for them when they get older that they can come work for? Or is it more just like, I need to feed them and take care of them and make sure that they have love? Or which one of the two? Or is it both?
Well, for me, it's just like when I walk out that door, it better be something worth it, right? So like there's a way that everyone could win where, you're doing what makes them proud, knowing that you can walk out that door and, provide and to do all those different things, and to understand that, you build everything around love and not different standards. So I am just, I'm lucky. My wife has just been, she's dope and she's everything. And I like going through this period where I'm kind of adulting a little bit. It's all right. I've been kind of kicking it for so long, and but the truth is, cannabis is just this one place, where I just, man, there's some dope people, Yeah. I mean, I just get to hang out with dope people all the time.
Yeah.
And so I'm super blessed.
Nice.
Do you think that the community feel is what really helped dope? You right? Is that the community feel that you made? You were just talking about? Like, do you think that the community around you is what really propelled it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when we started dope, it's always defending our patients everywhere. And so for us, the reason why we started dope was to talk about the patient level, how it is as a medicine, and then also talk about patients who are going through a pretty hard time, because that's the interesting part about having a store. Because I thought like, oh, because I have a bar, all these cool people are going to come in and have licenses and, buy some, but people came in and they were older. They had ailments, and cannabis helped them out. And it really changed like the way I looked at, that the way that it was, and then the way I consumed it too. It wasn't about like, this is about wellness. It was about, really kind of getting my emotions maybe in check, where before it maybe so.
Do you have any rituals when you smoke? Like any consistent?
I inhale.
And you're also traveling a lot too. I know I see you like a lot when posting Instagrams or you're on planes. Do you keep a routine when you go places? So like when you wake up, do you have like a morning routine that you keep consistent to, or anything of that nature?
If I see one more David Tran selfie in the airplane, I'm just kidding. We love him all.
I mean, to me, it's about keep up. To me, I want to continue to connect. Like, to me, it's just like if there's a friendly face that we can, make like on, this journey is the most important part. And I want to continue to connect with you. That's why we have such deep rooted relationships and really deep rooted like conversations, right? Beyond just the high that you're starting to know each other, and that takes effort, and that takes, a process. That's why I don't, there's no place I wouldn't jump on to, do this and do a lot of these other great things.
What's next up on your schedule? Like what events are you going to be hitting here? I mean, obviously the Dope Cup on March 23rd,
March
24th.
23rd, yeah.
Anything else that you're excited for in the future?
Yeah, I mean, so many. I mean, there are a line of High Times Cups coming. There are golden ticket parties coming. Again, the magazine Positive Nelson was just on our advocacy issue from the Virgin Islands, and it's pretty amazing. The content and the people that are getting involved get bigger, and that's what's amazing. And I think being able to work with the different brands through that, continue to get our message out pretty fast.
Nice.
Yeah, no, that's that's all right. I didn't mean to cough on you.
That was nice.
What is this? What is this over here, Tony? What do you got?
Harmonious CBD. They're one of our sponsors for the Culture and Cannabis podcast. They are a Northern Nevada brand. I brought this for you to have.
Oh, really?
It's a mint chocolate. Full plant, full spectrum, CO2 extracted.
Let me bite this bottle.
But yeah, I don't want to keep you for too long. But
you.
you want to say anything in the camera? Plug anything before we sign off here?
Well, DOPE stands for defending our plant everywhere, and that's the patients, that's the the people, and that's the planet. And High Times has been here and been to me the model of what community is for many years. So I appreciate what you do, and I think it's good to recognize people and continue to connect with people, because there's nothing more important. And we love you. Yeah. That's it. Cannabis is about love. Cannabis is very much about love, and that's its roots, and we can't change that. You can't change it. You can't change it. So we just got to maybe, just continue to, get out there and push that along.
Awesome. And don't forget, the High Times Dope Cup, March 23rd, 24th.
Yes.
Soldier Boy, Waka Flocka.
Yes.
Tons of vendors. Great time. Great connections.
Go to cannabiscup.com, sign up, get on the list. It's a free show. I can't even freaking believe it's going to be a free show. There's going to be a lot of awesome people there, and I just I'm ready. I'm hanging out. You're hanging out.
I'm going to be there.
Gotcha.
I'm going to be there.
Gotcha.
We'll throw the link in the bio of
Thank you.
Of this video so people
Appreciate
can check
this.
it out.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on. Thanks for listening. I really appreciate it.
No, awesome.
Yeah.
No, this has been fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And shout out to our listeners. This is episode 2 to Culture and Cannabis podcast. We'll be talking with you guys soon. Peace.
Howdy.